What's up, guys? Welcome to Demo with Mo. I'm your host, Monique Simmons. We'll be discussing dating, engaged, and married objectives from a young Christian's perspective. Are you guys ready? Let's dive in. Hey, what's up, guys? I am Monique, the host of Demo with Mo, and today I have a very special treat for you guys. We are going to take a dive into the best of 2022 season 2 podcast episodes, interview style. So what we're going to do is dive into each podcast interview that I did this year, and we're going to pull out the nuggets and gems and put it all together for you for a special episode. I really hope you guys enjoy this. We're going to start off with episode 7 from season 2, Chasing Your Dreams While in a Relationship, where I interviewed husband and wife Charles and Ashley Jenkins. And then we're going to get to episode 8, where I interviewed Dr. Monique Jones with Mentorship in the Black community. And then we're going to rewind just a little bit, where I interviewed Ashley Jenkins on episode 3, where we discussed blended families. And last but not least, we're going to end today's episode with the interview that I started the year off with my husband, Corey, in episode 1 with relationship goals for the new year. I really hope you guys enjoy this compilation that I'm putting together from the best moments of season 2's 2022 interview style. Remember, if you're not already, follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook at Demo with Mo. Check out our private group on Facebook, Dating, Engaged, and Married Objectives, and check out our website at www.demowithmo.com. Anything you would want to know about the podcast, about myself, it's all there. You want to catch up on old episodes that maybe you missed, or maybe you just need to refresh and do a repeat of something that you heard and you enjoyed. You can find it all there on the website. All right, guys, I won't hold you any longer. Let's dive in. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of Demo with Mo. I am your host, Monique Simmons. Today, we will be discussing chasing your dreams while in a relationship. I have invited some very special guests to join me. One of them may be familiar to you. We had her on last month when we discussed blended families, Mrs. Ashley Jenkins. And we also have her husband, Mr. Charles Jenkins, joining us as well. And I'm just ready to hear the nuggets and the gems that they're going to give us on today. I want to know, tell us how you guys met. How did you guys become Charles and Ashley Jenkins?
Well, a lot of people don't know. We actually met online. We met on a dating app. Yes, we met on a dating app.
Okay.
For myself, I had got on the app because I was engaged before I met my husband, and I had gotten out of a really bad relationship. So I just was like, I'm just gonna, get on the dating app, meet friends type of thing. And so I met my husband instead. So, we met on a dating app and we talked for a few weeks before we actually went on our first date. And then we dated for 6 months, got engaged, and we were married by 9 months.
Wow.
Yeah. And we've been together now 7 years.
Let me ask you this, and I was not planning on asking you this until you said this, because I have a lot of, especially Christian women who are dating, and they ask about the online dating, because we're in 2022. That's kind of the new thing that's relevant. Do you guys encourage that? Do you think that's a great place to start?
I would say the best way to do it is probably find something new in the dating app. I believe with like the dating apps that people like have heard of and that's been ongoing for a while, they get misused and people try to find ways to, use and manipulate people on those things. Mm-hmm. But when it's a new site or something like that,
Okay.
That's something that I think someone gravitates towards for that reason instead of, trying to manipulate someone or stuff like that. Because the app that, we found each other on, it was relatively new when we had met on there.
Yeah.
But now it's not nothing like it was.
Ashley, would you add anything to that?
And just being safe, I don't think there's anything wrong with the dating app, as far as a good place to start, because like I said, I really wasn't going on there looking to date like something serious. It was more so looking for like companionship or friendship. And so I do think that it's a good place to maybe like, open that door of even the possibility of dating again. And then, see where you're led. But of course, if you're a believer, always pray about it first. Make sure that that's what God has for you, because just because that worked for us, that's not going to be for everyone.
All right, guys. Next question. Do you guys think both parties can chase their dreams at the same time?
I think it depends on maybe like the financials, because I think that for us was a holdup.
Okay.
We do have a 2-income home, and we have seen where we could do 1 income, but it's more comfortable having the 2 incomes. So sometimes it's just about the financial of it, like who can bring in actual revenue from what they're doing, or who's going to bring in the most and take away the least from the house, because a lot of times people don't think about entrepreneurship. You have to spend money to make money.
Yeah.
And so it's not always a profit being made. Maybe you're breaking even, or, even having to sacrifice and take some things out of your household funds. So I know for us, that's been like the biggest hang up on us both doing entrepreneurship full time.
Okay. If you guys don't mind me asking, but what did that look like for you guys? Like, what if you had to give a summarization of who was chasing their dreams and who kind of had to take the back seat while the other person chased their dreams? What did that look like for you guys?
I would say that it wasn't necessarily a holdup on getting started with, running the business, besides on the financial side.
Okay.
Like when you get starting a business, I wouldn't say that you necessarily have to start financially. You can get your goals and what you want to set up and things, how you want to run your business, getting those things started. I don't think it's a hang up in that aspect. Okay. Because it would, like, to answer that question, I believe both people can chase their dreams and entrepreneurship at the same time, but getting it started is another thing. You can, chase it and have those goals to what you want to do in that business. And then once you're ready to get it started, it's going to take some finances to get it started. And that's where the holdup is.
Mm-hmm.
Got you. Okay.
And even for us, like, to go back to our situation personally, like Charles actually had a business before I did. So he had his own auto glass business. Mm-hmm. And so Charles actually had his own glass business first.
Okay.
So as I'm, in school and doing jobs and different things like that, he was the one that had a business. And so then it shifted to now I have the business and he's working, but he would like to pursue, being able to cook and cater more.
Yeah.
And so I think it changed for us with seasons. Like it was his season at one time because of the finances, like we just expressed, like we just don't have it where we can both pursue it at the same time. So we've both had our opportunities to support each other, but it's never been where we were both able to chase our dream at the same time. That's a goal, though.
Okay. And Charles, I loved your perspective on you saying just because you're not like per se out there with the business and pushing it, but you're still chasing it. You're coming up with your plans, with your goals, how you want it to look, because that's still chasing your dreams. Even if it's just on paper, you're still chasing your dreams.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. How does that work when you're trying to raise young children and still chase your dream in your relationship as well? Like, how do you guys share the load with that?
I think, well, yeah, you do get tired, but also I think like we've been doing it for about 6 months now. I say
Okay.
we take turns on giving each other days off with the kids. So a day that I would have the kids, she has time to go and do anything that she wants to do for herself, but she could take that time, to work on her business or just to chill or relax,
eat snacks, or what I do,
or relax or do whatever she wants to do. Me on my days off, sometimes I write down stuff that I want to do for my business or stuff like that. And on the other days, that's my days where I bowl and do things that I like to do for myself as well. But, just giving each other that time to get away and work on yourselves is important to, have to be able to get those things done.
Yeah. This is so good. Practical application for real, like legit, because I am big on practical application. You guys who are listening to this, if you did not hear, I'm going to rewind and repeat. They said they give each other days off. And that's a way you can support your spouse, even if you're just working a 9 to 5 or you are a homemaker and you're home with the kids every day. We can support one another in our marriages and our relationships by giving the other person the opportunity to just have a break, a day where they can choose whatever they want to do, even if that's just, as Ashley said, laying in the bed eating snacks. But that's ways that we can practically support one another in our relationship. I have enjoyed you guys so much. Like legit, I have enjoyed you guys so much on today. Yes. Is there anything, before I let you tell my audience how to find you guys, is there anything that you guys would want to say?
Just always stay encouraged. I would say don't let your past define you, because although we're talking about fluffy stuff, marriage is hard, with or without entrepreneurship, jobs, whatever. It's just hard, and there will be trials and errors and all that. So just forgive, remember why you said your I do's. And I hope that y'all like each other on those days when that love tank is not as full as it was when you got married. Just remember why you're there and keep striving, because it's not always rainbows and sunshine.
Yeah, I also like to expound on some things my wife said just then.
Okay.
Is, don't give up on what you want to do, or don't think you can't do something just because you look a certain way or you don't have something. Because in the position that I'm in now, I would never thought that I would, be in that position, because wasn't qualified for the position, but I still I said I have a college degree in this position. I don't. And, all those things, they just shoot for it. You got to shoot for your goals, no matter how it looks on the outside. It can always happen no matter what.
So true. God can open doors for us that people couldn't even imagine, couldn't no degree, couldn't no CEO put us in. God just has a way of making room for us at the table, or making our own tables, which is dope in itself. Today, we will be discussing mentorship in the Black community. I have invited a very special guest to join me on today, Dr. Monique Jones.
Thank you so much for having me, everybody.
Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you being here. I always like to do the biographies on my guests, but I love for my audience to hear some personal things from my guests about themselves. So if you wanted the audience to know anything about you, what would you want them to know about you, Dr. Jones?
I would say I am a product of my environment. Born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi. I went to Jackson Public Schools here. I went to Coburn High School and Jackson State University for undergrad and for my doctoral degree as well. So I am from the heart of Mississippi. And I think that's very important, because I do try my very, very best to be a great role model for people, in our youth, because sometimes people don't feel like they have people like that come from their environment that they see that are successful. And I try to make sure that, you just never know who's watching you and things of that nature. So I'm really, really big about giving back to my community and really showing other people, especially our youth, they can make it out of their circumstances.
I love it. That is great. What do you personally consider to be a mentor? What's your definition of a mentor?
I think my definition of a mentor is someone that someone looks up to. It can be in a professional realm, it can be in academia, it can be in community service. It's different types of different mentors. Like you may, for instance, I'm 31 years old now, right? I
Mm-hmm.
have people that I look up to, that I see something in them that I lack and I learn from them. And they are sometimes a mentor to me in that way. So I don't think
Yeah,
mentorship stops at like a youth age. I think that mentorship grows as you grow because you may have a mentor and you can also be a mentee as well.
I agree 100%. This is why I wanted to talk about how important mentorship is, especially in the Black community. Mentorship is important across the board, but especially focusing on the Black community because it's so much bigger than that moment. Like you're making, whether you're the mentee or you're the mentor, there's an impact being made. You said your grandmother passed when you was 14 and you're still able to recognize the impact and the difference she made on your life all those years ago. And you're still carrying it on to today. So it's just bigger than just that moment. You're making an impact or an imprint on someone's life that you don't know how far that will carry them through their life. I love it.
Yes, that's so true because my grandmama always taught me to never settle. And that's
Yeah.
really the true reason why I named my book that I wrote, Open Letter to a Girl That Never Settles. My grandmama,
Oh, wow.
my grandma always told me to never settle. Hold yourself always at the highest of standards. And that has always been in the back of my mind based off any decision, if it's dating wise, career wise, if I don't feel fulfilled, if I don't feel loved, if I don't feel appreciated, if I feel like this is not making me feel like I'm full of the worth that is supposed to be given to me, I
Yeah.
don't do it. I really put my best foot forward, and get out my comfort zone. And like, I love to like network and meet new people because again, it broadens my whole perspective of the way I think about certain situations. Because again, growing up and also navigating through adulthood, it's very important to look at things from other people's perspective. Sometimes when we look at things from our own perspective, all the sensitive to the other people that it may affect.
Yeah. This is good because when you were talking, I was going to ask you, how do people find people who may not have that sister circle or have those friends? How do they go about building that? How do they get out there and create this for themselves? But you said it by putting yourself out there and
Yes.
being okay with being uncomfortable. Like that's great because that's how you, even if you don't call it mentorship, because I love how you said the sister circle or those girlfriends, or for the men that's listening, those fellows or those brothers that you hang out with, you guys, whether you use the word mentorship or not, that's kind of what it is because you're feeding off one another. You're learning from one another.
Exactly.
And a way to build it is just as you said, by putting yourself out there and not being afraid to be uncomfortable. Because how else do you meet people? How else do you network? How else do you get out there and switch up your environment if you've been used to being a loner? And to kind of just put yourself out there and not be afraid and kind of maneuver through this thing, you can kind of figure out who you want to connect with. And some people you connect with may not be your people. You like, nah, that ain't it. But let me keep
Right.
trying.
But the thing about it is, I think that as you're growing older and you're navigating yourself in your adulthood, regardless if you're a man or a woman, you find out what you're interested in,
Yeah.
right? And once you find out what you're interested in, you start to become more comfortable being you.
Yeah.
And when I say being comfortable being you, regardless if it's something that's not the popular trend, that's something that you truly care about and that you have an interest in doing. So I will recommend people to, become a part of organizations
Okay.
where they can meet people and those same common interests and build those relationships and go from there. I think genuineness in relationships are based off of like-minded people who have similar interests in whatever it is that they like to do.
This is good. You guys, if you didn't hear what she just said, I want you to rewind and listen to the answer that she gave one more time, because she's giving us practical application on how we can meet people and begin to build these relationships and have these mentor-mentee relationships with others. You know, she's given us practical ways, because you guys know I am big on practical application. Don't just talk to me. Don't go over my head. Don't say something and I left with nothing. I left with the same thing I came with, but give me practical ways on how I can do this. When I leave this conversation with you, I know what I need to do. I know the steps that I need to take to get the results that I want. So I love it. Thank you. What role, because we've talked about mentors, I want to kind of touch on the mentees now. What role and or responsibilities do mentees play in this mentorship? Like, what responsibility do they have in it?
And in what aspect of mentorship?
As far as the relationships, because we talk about the mentors being role models, kind of watching what they say, watching what they do, because people are watching you. But what responsibilities do mentees play in this?
I think a mentee's responsibility would be still being the person to reach out and try to actually build their relationship. Because again, say for instance, if there's someone that does not necessarily know me but wants to reach out to me, I would not know that something that I have that you will want unless you tell me about it or approach me about it. And I also feel like a lot of people feel that some people may not be approachable, which I can get, but that's a part of, stepping out your comfort zone and actually being comfortable and confident enough to actually try to bridge that relationship with that person. So I think a mentee's responsibility is to ask questions. I may not know the answer, but I can get you to the person and get the answer for you.
It's good. Today, I have a very special guest joining me. I am very excited. We are going to be discussing blended families. And I know that this is a sensitive topic for a lot of people. If this is not your experience personally, I'm pretty sure you know someone in your life who experienced this is. So today, we're going to kind of dive right in and just get to the nitty-gritty of all things blended family. My guest is Mrs. Ashley Jenkins. Welcome, Ashley. So glad to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Yes, definitely. And before we dive in, I do want to say I met Miss Ashley through a group on Facebook, Dope as a Mother, led by Liz Tillman Nichols, which is a great group. If you want to go check that out, check that out via Facebook. It's a great group for moms. And I met Miss Ashley through there. And I just love her. She's such a great spirit, always has positive things to say, always pushing therapy and mental health wellness. It's just dope because I'm an advocate for therapy. And it's just a breath of fresh air to see another Black woman so excited about mental health and helping others and building community. It's just a breath of fresh air, girl.
Yes. I love being around like-minded individuals myself. So it really is. And I knew right off that we had to connect. Didn't know it was going to be in this way, but I'm excited.
Awesome.
I myself am a mom of 3. And the reason that this is such a dear topic to my heart is because not only do I have a blended family, but I'm a part of a blended family myself. So my 2 little ones are with me and my husband, and then I have my bonus son, and he is actually a driving force while we moved from Michigan to come to the state of Mississippi because we wanted to make sure all of our kids were raised together. So this is definitely a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I have a passion for children, but especially my own, you know how that is. So yes, being a mom and a wife is like top priority for me outside of, serving God.
Awesome. What's your personal experience with blended families?
My personal experience has thankfully been a positive one. Okay. I know that that's not a lot of people's, story, but I'm so thankful that, personally, I'll start with myself. Like my stepdad, who I do not call my stepdad, that is my dad. He has been in my life since I was, I think, at least 3 or 4. Okay. So this is the only dad that I really know. My mom was divorced when I was a baby. And unfortunately, my father was not a part of my life. You know, he chose not to be. So God blessed me with an amazing, amazing dad, you know, once my mom got remarried. And so I've had that positive experience of seeing, you know, a man step in and really treat you as their own. Um, and I think that that has really molded the way that I've been able to be with my bonus son as well. I have, you know, him and he and his mother and I have a great relationship. We have a good, strong, I call it a co-parenting team, because
Okay.
although the biological parents, I feel like they are the point people, you know, and I'm that support, it's
Yeah.
still about a team. We all have to have the same collective goal, which is our son.
I love it. I love it. So not only did you have a great experience with your bonus dad, who's, like you said, is your dad coming into your life and being a
Mhm.
major part and a major figure in your life, but even when you married your husband, you guys created a great blended family. Like, that's
Yes,
awesome. And I really think, I don't want to skim over that too fast, but I think, as you said, the relationship you had with your bonus dad and the kind of the example he set, it set the tone for you when you had to do the same thing.
exactly.
Okay. So do you think that is what a lot of people are missing? Maybe they didn't have that great example or didn't know what it looked like to have a healthy blended family, is sometimes why they mess up.
Well, one thing I've realized, you know, being a therapist, there's always something that motivates behaviors, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
always something behind the behavior. So, not to generalize too much because everyone's an individual at the same time, but I do believe that there are contributing factors. So,
Okay.
yeah, if you don't see that positive relationship between a co-parenting unit or have a positive, you know, bonus parent in your life, then that can go one mimic or you're going to try to break the cycle. So it's really up to that individual what they want to do.
Okay, so I know we've kind of discussed how, with your bonus son, how you and his mom have a great relationship now. But was that transition always easy? Did you guys always have a great relationship? Did it start off in the beginning like this?
I will say that it takes time to build those boundaries, that respect and those different things. My husband and I got married very quickly.
Okay.
And so I actually didn't even meet my son until after we were married. My husband and I only dated for 9 months and then we were married. So I was not able to, like, you know, meet my son's mother and meet my son and like ease into that situation. It was kind of like, okay, I have a wife. Here we go. So, so I'm sure, you know, not to speak for her, but I'm sure it's kind of like, you know, like what's going on? Like, you know,
Right.
so, you know, there were things that happened prior to me being a part of this now co-parent unit that my husband and her had to figure out. And I had to figure out my place in that.
Yeah.
So I think, as you know, for me individually, that's what it was for me. What is my
Okay.
place? Like, what's my role? And I don't want to overstep because I can be an overstepper.
Yeah.
So I don't want to overstep. I don't want to be too controlling, and I don't want to come in like a powerhouse. But I do want it to be known that I'm genuine, I'm here, I'm present, and I have nothing but positive intentions. So that's the way I went in with it. And I think that because of that, it was an okay transition. Uncomfortable, yes, of course, because, you know, you're dealing with someone who has a kid with the person that you love before, in my situation, before I did.
Yeah.
You know, so I had uncomfortable moments, and that's just being transparent, you know. So I know that transition was a little difficult in that sense for me. Now, if we fast forward, have there been situations and things that happen? Of course, you know, communication has changed at times and made me question, like, okay, what did I do wrong? What's going on? Why are we not communicating the way that we were? And those different things. And I think that that just comes with allowing space and opportunity for any healing that needs to go on. If things have happened in that relationship, which for us, some things did happen. But I think just allowing that other parent that space to heal, staying respectful. Like, you don't have to be disrespectful, even if there's a conflict. You can respectfully agree to disagree, or say, hey, I'm gonna put my best foot forward, and I hope that that's enough to get us through this, rough patch or this transition in the relationship.
Yeah. Girl, that's good. That's good. And I just want to say, I love your transparency, because for anyone who has been listening to my podcast for any time, you know that I'm going to always be transparent and honest and vulnerable and sharing things about myself that may make others uncomfortable, but I want to always live in my truth. So I really appreciate your response in that.
And the thing with that too, Mo, is that if we're not transparent, we're just sitting here talking for no reason. We're not helping anybody.
Yeah.
So I'm, especially in this season, I'm very intentional, and I'm not just coming on here, just to, even though I would love to kick it with you outside of this, just to kick it. We're here for a purpose, and I want someone to walk away helped.
Yeah. Next question. This is a bonus question from me.
Okay.
What do you say to those people who are listening, who maybe have a blended family? They did it all wrong. They literally, the foundation was wrong. They didn't communicate. They messed up. And they've kind of gotten so far down the road, they feel like they cannot fix it. What do you say to them?
So someone who feels like, I just failed as a step parent, a biological parent, like I'm just getting it wrong all around. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Simple. Don't give up. I mean, nothing deep, because like I just said in the previous question, we're all missing it every day. We all have potential to grow every day. So when I say don't give up on your children, because at the end of the day, we're making it about them. So don't give up, do that research, book those counseling sessions, work on that communication, work on your individual doubts, fears, all that thing, those things that may be stopping you, those things that have those limiting thoughts of you, like, well, I failed, so I'm just going to abort the mission. Don't abort the mission. Just, keep going. You got it. And don't give up. You have the rest of their life to improve, because like you said, outside of blended family, do we say, well, I sucked as a parent and I'm getting it all wrong. So CPS, come on, come get them, pick them up. We don't, you know what I mean?
No.
So treat your blended family with the same intent, with the same respect. Don't give up on it.
Girl, beautiful. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to an all new episode of Demo with Mo. I have a very, very, very special guest joining me on today. My husband, my best friend, Mr. Corey Simmons. Welcome, Mr. Simmons.
Hey, what's going on?
Glad to have you join me. I know a lot of people have wondered, the husband behind the scenes, because you didn't join me for season 1. How does it feel with me opening up with you on the first episode of season 2?
I feel special.
Is that right? Are you nervous at all?
Oh, yeah.
Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. It's just me and you.
And okay. Everybody else.
Well, yeah. Everybody else too. Okay, so what I want to kind of discuss today with you, so we know this is the beginning of a new year, and people usually make New Year resolutions. They set goals, set things that they want to accomplish, boxes that they kind of want to check out for the year. And today I want to focus on setting relationship goals for the new year. And that can be whether you are dating someone, you're out here trying to figure out what you kind of want to do, if you want to settle down, or if you're actually in a committed relationship with someone, or even if you are married. I think we all should be able to set goals for our relationship for the new year. Maybe something that we did in the past didn't work. maybe something did work and we kind of want to continue doing that or figure out how we can do it even better. But whatever that is for you and however that looks in your relationship, I think we should be able to sit down together and kind of discuss our goals or how we want to see our relationship develop in the new year. So, what do you think about that? Do you think people should set goals for their relationships as well?
Yes, I think people should have relationship goals. If their relationship important to them in their life, and their spouse important to them, they should set goals so they can achieve them goals together.
Okay, well, I want to ask you some things personally. What's one thing that you think we should start doing in our marriage?
Being more consistent. I feel that we should, on my end, I should be more consistent on when I say I'm gonna do something, or what we'll start doing, dating and things of that nature, and stick to things like that.
Okay. Wow, it's funny that you say that now because I was going to say having more date nights. And when I mean that, I don't mean just randomly one night saying, all right, let's go out, but being, as you say, consistent in that. Because I remember a time where we went on date night every Friday or at least every other Friday in some kind of way that kind of just fell by the wayside and we kind of fit in date night here and there. But I really think to be able to have that closeness and intimacy that we should be able to spend more set aside time together outside of our hobbies or our careers or even our children, but just that one-on-one time together. So I agree with that. Okay, what's one thing we should stop doing? Maybe that we've done in our marriage for years, or maybe something that we started during the pandemic or whatever. But what's one maybe negative thing that you think we should stop doing in our marriage?
One thing I think negative that we should stop doing is assuming how the other person feels in a certain situation in an argument, and just start communicating about the situation.
Okay, let me ask you this. So, do you think that's more of a both of us thing, or is that personally to you?
Well, I can take it personally for me. I can start communicating instead of assuming about the situation.
Okay, I appreciate your honesty on that because I was gonna ask you. I'm usually good about trying to ask you what's going on and not assuming. So that's why I asked you, was this personally to you, or were you saying both of us could kind of work on this? I think one thing we could stop doing, or I'm gonna say personally for myself, I'm gonna take accountability on this one. I think one thing I could stop doing is letting one moment kind of dictate everything, if that makes sense. Like if we have an argument or you say something that offends me or hurts my feelings or that I don't like, letting that kind of dwell instead of quickly talking about it, reconciling and moving on. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and not letting that trickle because I can easily shut down. If I'm offended or I'm hurt, I can just stop talking and shut down. But I think I can do better in not shutting down, having the hard conversations, and kind of moving past that. What's one thing that we could do differently?
One thing I think we could do different is, on my part, is communication, but on another part is spending more time together. Not letting our circumstance or situation or arguments affect how we feel about each other at that moment.
Okay, I can see that. And I'm in agreement with that. I think one of the biggest things we can do differently is communication. Like we could definitely, because shutting down, which is something that I do, that is very unhealthy. That's a very unhealthy form of communication. And sometimes in your communication is you raise your voice, you get loud, and I don't like arguing and I don't like somebody to yell at me, so I just completely shut down. So we could both work on our techniques and how we kind of communicate with one another, being sensitive to the other partner, because you hate when I shut down. You feel like you're not being heard, and I hate for you to yell or raise your voice because I feel attacked. But that's not either one of our motives, but that kind of how it comes across. So I think we can do better in that area as far as our communication.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we have gotten that out of the way. I want to get into some sort of fun questions and letting the people kind of get to know you a little better. With this being your first time here, being on the show. First question I have for you. What keeps you going in life, and what do you value the most?
That's easy. My family, going out getting things that they want and need, and just watching them putting a smile on their face. The thing that I value the most is my family.
Okay, I see that. Would you rather ask someone for help or figure it out yourself?
Knowing what I know now, trying to do it myself, it don't work. But asking somebody for help, but you gotta ask the right person for help. That's how I look at it now. That's experience and whatever you going through at the time or whatever. But I would ask for help now, knowing what I know now.
Okay, okay. If you could start your life over again, what's one thing you would change or do differently?
The one thing I would change, I would forgive others. I wouldn't hold grudges because that hindered my growth. And it's still hindering my growth today. What I do differently, back then I'll forgive my father, forgive others that did me wrong, and maybe the outcome will be different. Maybe the outcome of my life will be different right now. Maybe I won't have to go through the things that I went through, and it'll probably be different as it is today.
Okay, I like that. What is our greatest strength in our marriage? What do you think our greatest strength is?
God is our greatest strength, but we have many strengths.
Like what?
I just take it as everyone know their role. I mean, just like a basketball coach and a team. We're supposed to be a team together.
You would use basketball as an example.
Well, I'm using it because it's a team sport. I mean, everybody has a role.
Yeah.
The wife has a role and the man has a role, but everybody in different marriages might have a different role. It might not be the man having to do this and do that. But I know my role is just to make money, make sure the children okay, make sure you okay, make sure y'all well-being, provided for, have a roof over your head. And then your role is you good with money, I'm bad with money. You know, things of that nature. Know who you are. Know who got the best strengths in the marriage.
Okay, I like that. So you would, if I had to sum that up, you would say our strength is we kind of play our part. We know our part and we play our part.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
Have an understanding.
And I am very in agreement with that. And one of the things I do want to say to those of you who are listening, every relationship looks different. Every marriage looks different. You don't have to do it the way mommy and daddy did it, or your sister or your neighbor or your coworker, how they're doing their relationship and their marriage. Yours doesn't have to look like that. You figure out what works best in your relationship or marriage, and you do that. You figure out your part, your strengths, what you do well, what areas you do well in, and the same for your partner, and you guys work it from there. Because as my husband said, if he knows he's not good in money, but because he's the man, and maybe that's what society has kind of taught us, that the men should kind of be over the money. If he know that's not his area, I would be completely crazy to just sit back and watch him struggle in that area when I know I like numbers. I love math. I can quickly count the numbers in my head and don't even need a calculator. That would be foolish, because our desire is to do marriage and do marriage well. So if I know that would help him taking it off his plate and me taking care of that, and vice versa, him doing those things that he does well and me not trying to control it but surrendering that area over to him, it benefits the both of us. So your relationship doesn't have to look like everyone else's. You guys figure out what works best for you. Do that. Play your part. Okay, last question, Mr. Simmons. How do you feel about me starting the podcast?
I feel that it's a wonderful idea. I mean, it's good to hear young people talk about marriage, and I think you're doing a wonderful job. When you first started, I didn't think that it was gonna, last long, but here you is in your second season, and I think it's going well. Listen to you talk about marriage, and it's helping our relationship, and I don't know if it's helping others, but for the way it looks you in your second season, so you steady going, so you got to have some type of motivation there to keep pushing.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Simmons, for that. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me on my first episode of season 2. Again, I'm so excited to have you come on, because I already know that you're nervous. I already know that you really didn't even want to do this. And it's not because you didn't want to support me, because you very much support me behind the scenes with the podcast, but you are an introvert. And everybody that knows us personally, they know that I'm the one that gets out there and talks to everyone and really not shy with speaking to people. And it's just, I thrive in that area because I'm an extrovert, but I'm married to someone who likes to be behind the scenes, who really prefers not to be heard, to not be seen. So I know that you really love me and support me even being here on this episode. So thank you so much. I appreciate you and I love you so much for all that you do. Is there anything you would like to say to the people before we close out?
Nah, ain't nothing I like to say. I just want to get my paycheck.
Y'all see what I'm dealing with. And anybody that know us, they already know that my husband is going to act a complete fool. He was very chill tonight. I was expecting him to really show out. I thought I was going to have to do a lot of editing, but he did very well. He was very professional, very chill on today. And I just can't believe it. I just knew that he was going to act up. So thank you again, Mr. Simmons. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on today's episode. Remember, I love you, but God loves you more. I'll see you guys next week.
Peace out.
Bye. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Follow me on Facebook at Demo with Mo. If you have any questions you would like answered here live on my podcast, email them to me at demowithmo@gmail.com. That's DEMOWITHMO@gmail.com.